it's Dave Williams, and you're watching Rib Tips. But today we're going to be calling it Dave's Tri-Tips. And when I was a little kid, I lived in Santa Maria, and we were introduced to a piece of meat called a tri-tip. And on the cow, it comes from like this general location. It's on the bottom sirloin, not the top sirloin, but the bottom sirloin. It's a pretty tough piece of meat, and the people in Santa Maria actually perfected the tri-tip. They use, like a tri-tip, and they use a dry rub, and they cook it directly over red oak. They don't usually smoke it in a chamber, or they don't put it in a barbecue. They cook it directly over red oak. I'd taken that and talked to a few friends, learned a bunch of different things, and I decided to make it my own way. So what we're going to make is we're going to make a marinade. And typically on Santa Maria style, you don't do a marinade, it's just strictly a rub. So we're going to call this Santa Clarita style tri-tip. So what we're going to need is a few cloves of garlic, and, you know, crush them up pretty good. So now we got them all mashed, all the pieces of garlic. We're just gonna, you know, mince it up. Okay, so we got our garlic, okay? So what I usually do is it makes things easier to prepare this when you have a bowl, and it's not to mix the marinade in, it's to put the zip top bag in. So let's put it in, okay? And let's get the tri-tip. Now, I purchased a couple tri-tips that were on sale, and I froze them, okay? Now, so I wrote on there tri-tip, I put how many pounds it was, that there was fat on the back, because sometimes you go to the butcher and they don't have fat on it because they trim them, because people out there think you don't want fat on your meat. So make sure there's fat on there. And then also put the date that I froze it. Typically you don't want meat to stay in your freezer longer than 6 months. Okay? So it's only been a week. And he's been out of the freezer and in the fridge for a day. So here's a tri-tip. We call it a tri-tip because it is a triangle. He's pretty huge. I hope he fits in this Ziploc bag. And if he doesn't, we'll improvise. I guess we're going to have to improvise. I'll be right back. Okay, so obviously the zip top bag is way too small for this tri-tip. And if this thing was completely thawed out, I'm guessing it still might not fit in this Ziploc bag. So I'm going to pull out the container I used for my pork butt episode that I had not too long ago. And we're going to put this guy in here. Now it's going to marinate overnight. I'm not going to put it, boy, that sucker barely fits in there. It'll be thawed out completely by tomorrow, so it's not going to be a problem. And the liquid should help. So we're going to be pouring a lot of beers in here. To fill it up. We're not going to fill it all the way to the top because once it starts thawing out, it'll fall right inside. And it's not going to be that huge of a deal. So, you also want to get yourself some Worcestershire sauce. And I like to get them at Costco because you can get larger volumes for a lot cheaper. So, I usually eyeball it. And I'm going to have to eyeball a lot more because there's usually a lot more or a lot less beer. So, I would have stopped like a couple minutes ago worth of, you know, Worcestershire sauce. But since there's so much beer, I gotta compensate. So that feels like there's enough. And let's get the garlic in there. Let's close the lid. And I'm gonna put this in the fridge. And we'll see you tomorrow. So it's the next day. And I'll be putting the tri-tips on the barbecue pretty soon. And since we're using the barbecue instead of the smoker, we use some wood chips. For the tri-tips, I prefer to use the Jack Daniel's Oak Barrel wood chips, and you know, they put Jack Daniel's in here, so it makes it taste good. So, get yourself a bowl, and put a substantial amount of wood chips in there. And you're asking how much to put in there? The answer is I don't know. It depends how long it takes your tri-tip to cook. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some in here, and instead of adding water to moisten the wood chips so that they'll smolder over the briquette, I'm going to use pineapple juice instead of the water. And what's that going to do is water just kind of adds moisture, where this will add a little bit of flavor. So the pineapple juice kind of gives a zing to the smoke. And when it smokes out, it's going to give it kind of the, I don't know, the whiskey taste and sweet pineapple taste. So, just mix it up a little bit. And you probably want your wood chips to sit around for about a half hour, 45 minutes before you start using them. That way they can, you know, get enough absorption. Okay, see you at the grill.
As always, I use my chimney to start my fire. For the tri-tip, we're going to be cooking it indirectly. So what you want to do is you want to separate the coals equally on either side of the grill. These coals are really hot, so when you're moving them around the grill, you want to make sure you're wearing a protective mitt. Use some piece of metal. I'm using my tongs to move them around. After you've given the grill a good scrubbing, it's time to put your meat on the grill, fat side down. So the seasoning we're going to be putting on the tri-tip is the traditional Santa Maria style rub. It has 1 part kosher salt, 1 part black pepper, 1 part garlic powder. There is a commercially made Santa Maria style rub called Susie Q's. I placed the meat in the center of the grill. And when you put the lid on top of it, it's going to be working like a convection oven. That way you never burn the bottom of your meat. And you also cook the meat evenly. Before you place that lid on, don't forget those Jack Daniel's wood chips. So about every 20 minutes I have a certain routine. Open up the lid, I wet down the tri-tip with the marinade, I sprinkle on some more of the Santa Maria style rub, and then I place more wood chips in. When I was a child in Santa Maria, my father would be mowing the lawn on a Saturday, and halfway through the lawn mowing, he'd be gone. We would go outside and we couldn't find my father anywhere. He'd come back 15-20 minutes later and he had bags of tri-tip and chicken, and there was these barbecue trailers in front of grocery stores. You could smell them. Needless to say, the lawn was finished on Sunday. When the temperature hits 150, I take the tri-tip off. Man, I wish my fat would come off that easy. As soon as I take it off the grill, I like to wrap my tri-tip under 2 layers of aluminum foil.
Just like every other piece of meat, this guy needs to rest. So it's been sitting out for about 20 minutes, and let's take a look at it. Wow, look at that. It's indeed juicy. Let's get another aluminum foil. Take a look at that guy. Oh, man. This Jack Daniel's chips really makes a difference on the flavor. Okay, so you want to cut a tri-tip against the grain. Okay, so we're going to make little steaks. Just like cutting this guy. Cut the corner on it.
I like to cut my tri-tip in about 1/4 inch thick slices. Some people like to cut it thinner so they can make sandwiches later.
Oh my god, it is so awesome. So awesome. This is Dave Williams, and you've been watching Rib Tips. See you next time. But today, it's going to be called Dave's Tri-Tips, because that's what we're making today, is a tri-tip. Now, I was raised...
Why can't you just say...
I can't say it.